start back into our regular Board of Supervisors meeting. The first item on our agenda is the approval from the minutes from the reorganizational meeting held on January 4th, 2016. Any board discussion about the minutes? Okay. Make a motion to accept the minutes from the reorganizational meeting. Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to accept the minutes from the reorganizational meeting for January 4th. Roll call vote. Mrs. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the regular Board of Supervisors meeting held January 4th, 2016. Any board discussion about the minutes? All good? Make a motion to approve.
No, second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the Board of Supervisors meeting from January 4th. Roll call vote. Mrs. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Next item is the acknowledgement of correspondence for the month of January. Any board discussion? Good.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, it takes us to authorization of payment of the bills and payroll for the month of January. Any board discussion? You guys did copy the bills out there?
Yes.
Yes, okay. There was one line item that was on there twice for Reagan sales. It was, I don't want to call it a typo, but it was just added off. The $1,400 number should have been included in the $2,000 number, and that was for pipe on Raccoon Creek Road and other materials, but that is actually not a bill of $1,400, that was included in the $2,000. So with the exception of that, I'm fine with everything that's good. You guys are good with that? Okay. Motion to approve the bills.
I'll second it.
It's properly moved and seconded to pay the bills for the month of January. Roll call vote. Mrs. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Takes us into reports. Is there any? We have a fireman here. You want to talk about your fire report or no? You don't have to.
If anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Chairman, it was asked that I read all the reports. I don't know if that is in the interest of the board, but one of the residents had asked me to read all the reports of the meeting, so that's up to the board.
You want to read? Go ahead.
Midway Fire Department, incidents for January. They had 4 vehicle accidents, 6 medical calls, 1 gas leak alarm, 1 standby cover assignment, and 1 burn occupancy. Total calls for the month was 12, total for the year is 46. McDonald Fire Department report. There was 1 building fire, 1 motor vehicle accident with no injuries. I'm sorry, there was 2 motor vehicle accidents with no injuries. 1 power line down, 1 detector activation with no fire. There were 9 medical assists, 4 EMS calls, 1 motor vehicle accident, 1 removal of victim from a stalled elevator, 1 power line down, 1 cover assignment standby, 1 malicious, mysterious false call, 1 alarm system sound due to malfunction, and there were 20 calls for the month of January. Animal control, total number of calls answered were 6. There were 4 warnings issued. There were 2 dog calls, 2 dogs placed in kennels, 2 animals returned to their owners, and 4 animal nuisance calls. Managers report, I'm just going to briefly,
I was gonna say, you wanna just hit the highlight, like, I came in.
we'll be here till
Yeah,
tomorrow.
that's.
Okay. New Year's Day fell on Friday, January 1st, so our first day of business for this fiscal year was on Monday, January 4th. I made the agendas for the meetings. I reviewed the application for variance submitted by Mr. Friend. On Tuesday, January 5th, there was no water service in the township building. The water company was called, and John and Bernie actually thawed the pipes. We won't say what the Blue Church, though. Chip's Locksmith changed all the locks on our doors. I sent the advertisements to the Observer for our intent to hire a CPA. I prepared the advertisement scheduling the board meetings for 2016. I contacted the board about the October meeting being held on Columbus Day. I contacted Murphy Equipment about the invoice for labor as directed by the board meeting in January. I was contacted by a McDonald resident about an invoice he received from the police department. I met with him. I returned a call to David Singer from the Observer Reporter. We spoke about the reorganization meeting. Mr. Singer then asked me about a gas leak that occurred in Robinson on Tuesday, and I informed Mr. Singer at that time that I was not aware of any gas leaks in the township. I called Midway Fire Department, and Dan informed me that there was a 911 call made on Tuesday evening of a strong smell of gas along Valley View Road. There was a blow-off valve to a Mark West line. Dan said that it was not a big deal and it happens all the time. The details that I received were vague. I contacted Mark West and was told that it was a National Fuel line. I contacted National Fuel and was told that it was not their line. I sent several emails to the board on that matter. I tried to track down who was responsible for the gas leak the following day, and at that point, again, no one was accepting responsibility for it. I contacted Mr. Baird and spoke to Roger Kendall. Processed payroll twice in January. On Monday, January 11th, Ashley from the Conservation District met with Mr. Kendall and myself about the feasibility of continuing on with the grant for Raccoon Creek Road. Ashley will meet with her board and then get back with us. I received 2 right-to-know requests. I corresponded with Mr. Russell Lucas and Tony Orlandini about RES's conditional use and land development application. I completed the 4th quarter 2015 unemployment compensation report and contribution. I did a file review for RES. I worked on our print newsletter directory. The submission requires all information to be submitted electronically, so I retyped the history of the township and formatted all of the information to be included. I researched training opportunities through the local government academy for our planning commission and zoning hearing board. I reconciled the bank statements for December. I notified the zoning hearing board members about the variance for Donald Friend. I sent emails to the Planning Commission and Zoning Board with a link to the LGA site referencing training opportunities and instructed them to let me know if they would like to participate. I completed and submitted the 2016-17 salt contract for 600 tons of salt. We have to purchase at least 60% of our contracted amounts. I calculated our obligated remaining balance for this year and then ordered the salt to be delivered. I started working on our MS 965, which is a mandatory annual report for PennDOT verifying the receipt and expenditures of liquid fuel money from the previous year. This is required to be filed by the end of January to be eligible to receive our liquid fuel allocation by March 1st. I entered the 2016 budget into QuickBooks. On Monday, January 18th, I was informed by John that there was a fuel leak in the fuel tank of Bernie's truck. John found a replacement for the tank in Toledo, Ohio. The cost was $1,000. Both myself and Mr. Kendall gave John authorization to order the tank since it was an emergency and get it repaired quickly. There was a snowstorm that weekend that we were tracking, and we knew we had to keep that truck on the road. Tuesday, January 19th, I talked to Dave Foley about the zoning hearing board meeting for Wednesday, and I arranged for Alan Stone to be present, that's the attorney. I sent reminders to the zoning hearing board members about their meeting. Wednesday, January 20th, Stephanie Whitlatch from PennDOT contacted me to ask permission to use a small portion of Bigger Road. I consulted with John Ramaker about our ownership of this road, and he confirmed that all of Bigger Road belongs to the state. I called Stephanie back, and she said that the state conveyed ownership of this section of Bigger Road to the township in 1963. I sent an email regarding this matter to the board. I received the Kramer subdivision and sent emails to the PC and zoning officer, and I reviewed the application. I conducted another file review of the RES matter and created an advertisement for the conditional use and land development hearing, which we had tonight. I ordered 65 ton of road salt. I reviewed ETC pipeline applications in file. They call themselves ETC, and the name Regency is on all of their checks, and then their permits are all submitted in the name of land acquisition, so it's a little confusing. I contacted Nathan from ETC for clarification on the name of the company and the status of the permits. I contacted the court reporter for tonight. I did a file review of the Mark West Cybus compressor station. I prepared the agendas for February. I typed the minutes from the reorganization meeting on January 4th, as well as the regular township meeting. On Tuesday, January 26th, Mr. Ray Bologna called me about a power plant. He said the plant had been reconfigured to 950 megawatts. He stated that a new application was submitted for an air permit from the DEP. It will be located in the industrial zone, which is a permitted use. He asked me to send a letter to the DEP confirming that the power plant will be located in the industrial area. This will be a combined cycle natural gas power plant using processed natural gas. I revised the township contact list. I contacted the DCED regarding municipal mergers. Thursday, January 28th, a representative from the Montour Trail Council stopped into the office to inquire about a building permit issued for a home on Robinson Highway that was constructed on land owned by the Trail Council. I met with Mr. Dorsey about this, and Mark is going to contact the county to see if they have any record of a building permit being issued. I also read the boundary change procedures in anticipation of a meeting that we have with McDonald Borough officials tomorrow about a possible merger. Meeting and appointments for January, I had 8 meetings, and I had 7 resident complaints. 1 was a missing sign, 3 were road related, 1 was for a state road, 2 were neighbor complaints, and 1 was a street layout. Treasurer's report. Our balance sheet for today, our general fund, we have $185,072.64. Our liquid fuel fund, we have $45,463.02. Our local share account, we have $13,019.83. Our street light account, we have $6,360.42. Capital reserve, we have $798,398.01. Fire tax, we have $6,102.26. Gas well impact account, we have $118,185.02. The escrow account, we have $26,086.36. Fire hydrant account, we have $4,045.34. And our road settlement account, $91,748.28. For a total in our bank account today, $1,294,481.18. And I also provided the board with a profit and loss for the month of January. For the month of January, the receipts were $27,903.79. Our expenses for the month of January were $66,030.57. The police are here, and I believe they're going to read the report.
Would you like me to read at the podium, or? The calls for service for the 26th of December 2015 through the 25th of January 2016, we had 47 calls in the township. We had one report of abandoned vehicles. We had 6 calls regarding accident-related investigations. We responded to 6 alarm calls. Responded to 1 report of criminal mischief. Responded to 5 domestic disturbances. We had 1 report of a DUI arrest. Responded to 3 fire or medical calls. Responded to 6 hazardous conditions. Responded to 1 juvenile report. We investigated 3 narcotic-related complaints. Conducted 2 various special details within the township. We had 2 reports of suspicious activity, 2 reports of theft in the township, and 2 welfare checks in the township. During those particular weeks, we had 3 criminal arrests, 1 for driving while under the influence, possession of drug paraphernalia, and domestic violence. Also 13 traffic citations were issued during that month.
Thank you.
On a side note, Mr. Dorsey, he had an emergency at his house. He's unable to read his zoning report. I don't know if you want me to read that now, or hand you the report, or.
If you have it, you want to read it, sure.
Sure. January 4th through February 7th, 2016, on 1/20/2016, Mr. Dorsey issued notices to Daniel Caruso and John and Carrie Montgomery for property maintenance violations at 354 Valley Street. On 1/21/2016, Mr. Dorsey received an email from the township regarding subdivision for the Rammer plan of lots. On 1/22/2016, notices of violation to Nicole Sands in Midway Home Park for property maintenance violation at 502 Walnut Street. On 1/28/2016, there was a meeting for the township manager, Aaron, regarding residents with the address of 1549 Robinson Highway. Appears to have been built on the Montour Trail property. This was brought to the township's attention, and this is being still investigated by Mr. Dorsey. On 1/28/2016, email correspondence to and from the township regarding Joseph Freund, Freund, property on King Road. On 1/29/2016, Mr. Dorsey had posted a public hearing notice on Joseph Freund, okay. Application for a variance to construct a home at 920 King Road, zoned as IBD. Currently, there is a zoning hearing scheduled for February 17th at 6 p.m. On 1/4/2016, Mr. Dorsey prepared a notice of violations to Michael Maycheck for a wide range of property maintenance violations on his particular property. I have the parcel number if you need it. Situated in the 8600 block of Nobletown Road. On 2/4/2016, email received from the township manager regarding the Imperial compressor and the upcoming on February 23rd. On 2/5/2016, Mr. Dorsey received a notice of appeal for Daniel Maycheck owner of the 1427 and 1429 residential properties. Mr. Maycheck was found guilty in all 15 property citations on December 26th and has since appealed that decision. The appeal hearing is scheduled for March 23rd, 2016. That is it.
Thank you.
Oh, solicitor report? Oh. Sorry. So we had an executive session last week with the board to talk about basically laws that are applicable to the township supervisors, as 2 of them are new. We did this at no cost to the township, and we also offered to do the same for the planning commission at no cost. So hopefully we'll get that plan as well. Other than that, it's been a pretty slow month on the board side.
I actually do have a road report here. For the road report for the month of January, our road crew cleaned out the upper building. They provided snow removal on various days and used approximately 80 to 100 tons of material anti-skid and salt. They did equipment maintenance, grease loader and backhoe, etc. They washed the trucks and equipment. They made repairs to the trucks and the salt spreaders, new fuel tank on the GMC 5500. Repaired the hydraulic lines on the International and the hydraulic line on one of the salt spreaders. They answered various complaints throughout the township. They coal patched in several locations. They purchased new hand tools. They put ditch on the hill on Schaefer Road. And they replaced road signs that were stolen.
Thank you. You guys have any report? Good. Okay, any discussion about any of these reports?
I do, Mr. Chairman, if I'm allowed. Doug Baird, emergency measure coordinator for the township.
Oh.
And also discuss a little further the gas leak that we had on Valley View Road. When we were dispatched, the New Way Fire Department was dispatched for smell of natural gas on Valley View Road around the Kendall pad. Arriving at the Kendall pad, there was no smell, there was no sounds. I attempted to call Roger not to bother him, but maybe that's where we were called to and from. We got another name and address we followed up on, who made the call. We went there and they said it wasn't them, they were calling for their son. We returned back to Valley View pad. We had an apparatus go up Foley Road for and do the whole loop around to see if we could find what the sound or smell would be. After returning back to Valley View, we found a cut road that was cut in, drove up in there with our brush truck and found a point of delivery station with green pipes and blue and orange line markers, which would be National Fuel. Contacted 911 center to try to get a hold of a emergency contact to get somebody out here to review this system, what's going on. We had no clue. There was a hissing and there was gas being blown off of it appeared to be a valve. We didn't get close enough to look, nor will we. 911 said that both response from Mark West, there was no, not theirs, was not Range Resource, nor was it National Fuel. A well tender from Range showed up and said he would go look and see, which he went up and found that it was a Mark West facility. Then at that time, he verified it's doing the proper work, that he would stay on site until our representative would get on site to make the repair. At that time, we disregarded and returned. But that was a situation, and the situation was that nobody was taking responsibility for the action. And that's when I discussed it with Aaron also about how we need to possibly rectify these problems, and also with Roger, when after I bothered him twice. And I do apologize, but we were not given any names. Your name was given as your pad. That's why I called you right away. So that's the situation, and I know you and I talked, and I wanted to make sure that it was public that we were having this situation in the township.
Thank you, appreciate you coming out.
Sure.
Okay, anything else on that? No? Okay.
Good.
All right, motion to approve the reports.
Make the motion to approve the reports. I'll second it.
I'll second.
Okay.
That's fine. Second. Roll call vote. Mrs. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Takes us to old business. We had a request from Mark West to extend construction hours at the Cybus compressor station. Mr. McHale.
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, could I go back and address the gas leak we just discussed?
Sure.
Okay. There was obviously some confusion as to whose pipe that was. And subsequent to I being made aware of it by Aaron, I went back and I talked to Jeff Yates at Washington County EMA and confirmed that they had indeed received all of the GIS line work that we have provided for all of our facilities in Washington County. We provide that annually, and I'm not sure why there was confusion. We admit there was an issue with a faulty pop-off valve that was repaired. And subsequent to that, we've begun some dialogue with Doug, perhaps that will lead to better communication and prevent future confusion. So, that said, I am here tonight to request an extension of construction hours from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And the reason for that is that we had significant delays in obtaining a permit that would have allowed us to perform construction at a more reasonable pace. However, for a myriad of reasons, that permit was delayed, significantly delayed. It's a general permit issued by Pennsylvania DEP that statutorily is a 30-day review process. That permit was submitted in February of last year. Obviously, that would have given us plenty of time to obtain it and construct it. We received that permit on December the 30th. So, as a result, the producer customer that has every reasonable expectation that their gas would be flowing to our facility is significantly impacted, and so we are here requesting that we be allowed to do light construction activity in the evening hours, in the overnight hours, limited to pulling wires through cable trays, continuous welding, x-ray of those welds, and things of that nature. We are cognizant of noise and light emanating from our facility and are prepared to make reasonable concessions to mitigate those two things. One thing in particular we have done in other instances is disconnect backup beepers at night and use spotters. It's an OSHA approved method as an alternative safety, and it's something that we have done and are prepared to do. So the request is for 120 days, and we believe that will allow us to full schedule back and satisfy our producer customer. So with that, I will board if you have any questions. I'm prepared, I can try to answer.
Well, actually, we discussed this 2 months ago. We had this for, you answered what I had, but I'll repeat them as, or to the best of my remembrance of what I asked, which was simply to try to deflect the light from welding, keep the noise to a minimum. And you're talking about welding, X-raying, and pulling wire.
Pulling wire to cable
Pulling
tray.
cable
Correct.
through cable trays,
Mhm.
okay. And as opposed to backup alarms, you would use spotters.
Correct.
120 days,
Yes, sir.
starting when?
Starting upon approval.
Starting after, yeah. And I know I asked you this before, but what was your distance to the nearest dwelling?
The distance to the nearest dwelling is in Midway Borough, and it is approximately 1,300 feet.
Mr. McHale, are there other concessions that you've made in instances like this to provide for protection or light and noise deflection, things like
Oh,
that?
absolutely. We've angled lights in and down. We've used area work lighting instead of big, broad construction site lighting. We have positioned things like connexes on the side of residences to provide some buffer.
Mr. Chairman, for the board's benefit, I would say any considerations that the board makes or particular requirements that you want to make, that it then be subsequently integrated in just like a letter agreement that the solicitor would draft, so that everyone's on the same page subsequent, if you do make a decision tonight.
Okay, or do you have any input you would want to put into a letter? With the exception of what I just mentioned? I mean, anything beyond that?
As long as we've got the low lights back up alarms are off.
Okay, we're still in discussion, so hypothetical. Request to have solicitor draft an agreement letter with them, with what I'll write down, or what you want to write down, what I would say.
Right, so I've been writing down various elements, and if the board does make a motion, you might just want to list some of the concessions that you'd be requesting that they do.
Mr. Kendall, is this where I get to speak?
Well, normally no.
I know.
But they just gave their presentation.
I'm gonna refer to my solicitor, and I'll do it, there are rules, and exceptions are met pretty well.
Well, obviously, you typically want to apply rules in a uniform fashion, but in any given particular instance, if the board wants to allow for a minor deviation, they could, but I would caution you to typically apply the rules in a uniform fashion.
Well, if we want to stay in uniform fashion, then, okay. The rules, unfortunately, with the way the rules are, that were set up before this board was here, there's no public input during that part of the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wait,
You
just a
coming to
minute.
live at my house?
Just a second, I asked at the public comment period, if, after the presentations, and I used RES as an example, I asked if we would then be allowed to speak, and you said yes. It's difficult to know what to say at the beginning, if you haven't heard the presentation. So to say comments at the beginning,
Rules are rules, Ms. Lodge.
and you did say yes, so then,
That wasn't the question you had asked earlier. And when you asked the question, you shouldn't have even asked it, because that time of the meeting, it is agenda items only.
and that was an agenda item. That's got an asterisk next to it.
You had asked whether you could talk about RES.
I used it as an example, because RES was going to present. But my question was, these things with asterisks, we won't know how to form a comment until we've heard the presentation.
Until we change the rules of the meeting to allow what's going on right now to go on, it can't go on. I did not write the rules. The rules are what they are.
I understand that, but you
Apparently,
did
you
identify
don't.
that you could speak after the presentation. I asked that question at the beginning.
You asked if you could speak about RES, and that was during the hearing for RES. You did not ask about
I asked about
everything in general.
asterisk agenda items.
Anyway, does the board have any input? No. No. Okay. I'll make a motion to extend the operation hours for Mark West at the Cybus Ranch from the hours of, am I going too fast? You good? From the hours of 10 PM till 7 AM, limiting their work to welding, X-raying welds, pulling cables and trays. They will not use backup alarms, they will use OSHA-approved spotters. They will direct light in and down and try to put up some type of buffer wall,
We typically use.
canvas or something.
Yeah, we can use Connex or something like that.
That sound right? And ask the solicitor to draft a agreement letter this month. Second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
I'm sorry, the duration you did do one.
I did not, I apologize. For a duration of 120 days, starting upon approval. I'm sorry, I had that written above what I wrote below that. Got that all?
Got it.
Okay. Roll call vote, Mrs. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
My vote is yes, motion carries. Okay, takes us to new business. We apparently had unless the board, did the state decrease the number, or we just had the wrong number the other day?
No, the state decreased the number, the cents per mile from 57.5 to 54 cents, and we need to make a motion to adopt the IRS standard of 54 cents a mile.
Okay. Any board discussion on the state requirement to change that number? Laws of law. Okay, make a motion to change the mileage rate for the township from 57.5 cents per mile to 54 cents per mile. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to change the mileage rate from 57.5 to 54 cents a mile. Roll call vote, Mrs. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Next item is resolution 2016-1, appointment of a CPA to perform the 2015 township audit. Any board discussion? No? Okay, make a motion to adopt resolution 2016-1, appointment of a CPA to conduct the 2015 audit.
I'll second.
Properly moved and seconded to adopt a resolution 2016 appointing a CPA to conduct the 2015 audit. Roll call vote. Mrs. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. The next item is our copier. We have the Township Building, the lease is running out in a couple of months, so we have to make a decision on which direction to go. Susan has done some extensive research on possible lease or purchase and which direction is better to go. So I'm actually gonna let Susan put on her little presentation about which copier she thinks is better. And then we'll go from there.
Current moment, we got pricing from 4 different companies. We went with Amcom, which is the system we currently have, Toshiba, CDI, and Precision. We looked into the possibility of purchasing or leasing to see what would be the most beneficial for the township. When it came to purchasing, Amcom came in at the lowest purchase price. However, looking at their monthly maintenance fee, it's going to be not quite the highest, but about middle grade. Their cost coverage also, if we go over our copy range, is a little bit higher. The other downfall is 12-hour for their service call. They're normally within 12 hours. If we call, they'll hear. Sometimes they're a little quicker, but their guarantee is 12 hours. The second lowest was Precision, coming in at just under $5,000 for the purchase of the copier. Their monthly maintenance fee was the lowest, and their service fee is 4 hours, or their service time is 4 hours, which is absolutely wonderful. If I'm calling, they're gonna be there within 4 hours. CDI was the next one, and then Toshiba. Kind of thinking Toshiba's out. That is the absolute high-end copier. It has a lot of bells and whistles that I don't technically think that the township needs. So I'm thinking out of all the machines, that would be the one to eliminate. The board could basically choose from there. The nice thing with CDI and Toshiba was that they billed quarterly. I tried to explain that when you're billed monthly, if we go over 1 month, we are paying an overage for that month. When you bill quarterly, you can go over 1 month or over 2 months, and that third month be low, so we don't pay those overages because it's billed quarterly. So that makes a little bit of a benefit going with Toshiba or CDI. But again, I'm thinking CDI is out, or Toshiba is out due to the high-end quality of the copier. That's not something we need. Looking at the lease that they offered, these were all going to be 5-year leases. Toshiba was offering a 5-year and 3 months. Looking at the prices, your low one was Amcom and Precision. Both of them came in at the exact same price. Their fees for the copies, if we go over the coverage, is again pretty similar. Again, your variance is going to come down to the billing quarterly and monthly, looking at that. Again, looking at that, Precision would kind of stand out a little bit. It was 0.05 cents lower a copy. So again, it's a hit or miss which way the board would like to go. So looking at the lease, you'd probably want to look at Precision or Amcom. Looking at the purchase, you're probably going to want to look at either CDI or Precision. CDI is a little bit more of an expensive machine, but they have the service and the quality. All 4 companies are buying out the old contract for the old machine. No expense to the township. They are also taking the old machine, shipping it back, so that again, there's no expense. And from my understanding, that's about $400 to $500 savings for them shipping it back for us.
Okay, thank you. I just ran the math. Even though the Precision is $157 more, the monthly fee based on 5 years is $279. So mathematically, Precision would be far cheaper than any of the other machines. Well, I mean, far cheaper. $120, but in comparison to the one costing almost $6,000.
And the maintenance fee, as long as we purchase, if you're looking at the purchase, the maintenance fee, as long as you're maintaining that maintenance fee, they handle all the warranty work for the machine. So, machines are estimated between 12 and 15 years life expectancy. They can go longer if you take good care of them, if you abuse them.
And you were saying earlier that gives us an extra 400 copies
Yes.
compared to the old contract.
Yes, the old contract only had us the 2,000 copies and 0 colored, so we were going over. Our average monthly fee was $210. So any of the fees for the lease, I think the most expensive lease was $146. So that's still well under what we've been paying.
You guys have any preference, input?
I think purchasing would be better than leasing, because over a period of time,
Sure, we'll pay for it twice.
you'll pay for it twice,
I'd save about $3,000 if you purchase
if
it.
you purchase it.
However, we didn't, put it in the budget to purchase a copier this year. We did put the lease, we figured we'd continue leasing, so that is something to consider, that we didn't actually put it in the budget to purchase, but we will save about $3,000 by purchasing.
Solicitor question, can we legally purchase?
Just because it's not budgeted, so yes, you can.
Okay.
I'm sure you have office expenses, and if you actually have to move something around, you could do that by resolution. You could acknowledge the movement of funds from another general fund if you needed to do that. Otherwise,
We are gonna need a copier. And we are, we're gonna have to do something.
Okay, any input or questions?
No, so we are not allowed.
Yeah.
yes.
So we're okay with that?
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
If it's not in there, you ain't allowed to do it.
Yeah.
No, if you choose to buy, that's fine. If you choose to lease, that's fine as well. And if there needs to be some movement of funds, because of that, that can be ratified by resolution, just to acknowledge that movement. Obviously, it can't be an earmark fund, but
Okay.
Do we need this decision today? No. Want to prepare us a resolution for that action? Maybe we do this next one? We don't need it before next month, do we?
We don't need it, no. We still have 3 months of the contract, so I can just notify them and let them know that it's being postponed until next month.
right, and you don't even know whether you need to move money or not. I have to talk to Aaron about it.
I'm gonna make a motion to table this till next month, and we can possibly have a resolution in order to go about it the right way, and possibly go into a purchase direction as opposed to lease. If everybody else is good with that.
Yeah, I'll second that. That's
Okay.
where I get it.
As long as we're good, okay. Roll call vote to table this till next month. Mrs. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Okay, next item is Bigger Road ownership, of which Mrs. Caldwell touched on earlier. The state called the other day and requested permission to work on a section of road they claim that we own. Back in 1963, apparently they signed something over, and on the 17th of February, there's gonna be a meeting with PennDOT to find out exactly what the situation is, whether we do or do not own a section of Bigger Road. You have any further on that?
No, I've arranged the meeting, and if one of the board members would like to attend, I think that would be wise.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, good.
So, okay, does anybody else have any other business?
No.
I do actually. Back when we had redone the zoning ordinance, year and a half ago or thereabouts, there was a section that we should have addressed and got skipped over. It's the section with the PRD, the Planned Residential Development. The way it's currently set up, it's not practical for a developer to create a neighborhood when you can only put one house per acre. General residential developments is more compact than that. So we let it go because it kind of got skipped over, and you just got an email the other day with some information. I had actually asked Mr. Greg Kolbnicki to do a little bit of research for me, and he presented that email with that information to everybody. Is Greg still here, or?
No, you know.
He left, okay. Give a little comment on it. If you can, everybody look through it, and at some point, if everybody's happy with it, then we will possibly start a process to amend the zoning ordinance with that PDR section to make that more practical. That was what the email was you got the other day from that. But he devoted a good bit of time and research into doing that for us. I want to thank him, but he's not here, so. Any other business? Good. Okay, takes us to public discussion. Please come up to the podium, state your name and address, and present yourself for 3 minutes.
Happy Lodge. I just wanted to report on the annual auditor reorganization meeting. We had it on January 5th, myself, Tim Jones, and Nancy Campbell. We set wages for the supervisors and the roadmasters. And we would also like to develop a list of the township's assets. I checked with neighboring towns to see how they do it, and I spoke with an independent auditor. And then today I called Larry Spar to discuss it with him, which he really encouraged me to do it, thought it was a good idea. And I just wanted to check with the solicitor to make sure that there isn't a problem with us doing this. But
You're talking about creating a list of just
like an
tangible
asset
property?
list, yeah.
We can check into it, I don't know, sitting here, but you just wanna actually like compile a list
Well,
and then,
Larry
Just-
Spar explained it this way, that the insurance companies create a list that they insure large items. And he said it would behoove us to have also a list of smaller items, like an inventory list. And it would run conjunction with whatever the insurance companies have. And the benefit of this is basically, our township has more items because it has more money in it now, and it'd be good if anything were to ever happen to the building. We don't have a starting basis to what is all in there. We kind of know some things that are insured, but other items, a new copier, like, we want to know what's in there. So if there's a fire or something, we can start with, okay, we had these things, we need to replace these things. So I think it would be a useful item for Aaron to have.
I'm sorry, do you cover these things with, the insurance agent as well, or is this something different?
The insurance agent, we cover, they have a list of the bigger items, the
Okay.
equipments, but some of the smaller ones too, like our lawnmower, leaf blower, things like that.
Okay, we'll go through the code and just check to see if that's something that would be retained within, your capabilities in light of, the appointed auditors?
Right. And
Yeah.
I did go ahead and check with independent auditors, and they said that that's completely, we can do that's completely under scope, but go ahead. I
We'll
appreciate a
just
legal
confirm.
check.
Okay.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes.
Sign here,
Please.
Few extends.
here, on the hearing one, or
No,
no?
the public.
The public meeting, yes. We had two different events tonight.
said before, because of the extended hours of Northwest, I am one of the houses that lives 1,300 feet away from this, was none of you do. They work 8 to 8 now. They wake us up at 8 in the morning. That's the whole neighborhood, not just me. They work until 8 o'clock at night, you hear them all day. This is the largest compressor plant in Pennsylvania that they're running. So you cannot be quiet. And they have done nothing in the amount of time that they have been there now to stop any lights at night. They're huge lights before dark. It just goes on constantly. So you just gave them the right to do this all night because they say they're not going to. But you can't possibly work on something that big and be quiet. You may bring the lights down, but you're never going to make the light down. My husband, as I said before, you probably wonder why I'm so adamant about this. We worked for 3 years to get a double lung transplant, and we haven't. And it's my job to make sure that he's okay, because he can't. And between the pollution that I'm working on, and now this, because all night long you wake up, all night long they make noise, they're going to. I don't believe for 1 second they're not going to. So I can't believe that you just so easily said, okay, we'll write up this thing and what you're going to do is going to be fine, we believe you. So I really much really wish you hadn't done that, you did. But next month I'll come back and give you a report. And I'll have recordings of what's going on. That's all I know to do. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Durante, I'm the Director of Heritage Public Library. And I'm here to request that we had sent a request to Robinson Township Supervisors to appoint someone to the Heritage Public Library Board to represent Robinson Township on the board. And we have a lot of good things going on at the library. Story time, we're participating in a pilot for Play K Kids to help prepare preschoolers for kindergarten. We're working with Fort Cherry School District. We have State Representative Ortite, coming twice a month to the library to do constituent outreach, AARP tax assistance, February through April on Wednesdays. So a lot of good things going on, and I think it's a good opportunity we would like to have 2 people from Robinson to give insight into the community and what the needs are, to help to define programming. 2 positions will be opening up in March. We do have 2 people were appointed from Mount Pleasant, and so we definitely want to have positions from Robinson. This would also, they would have input on how the money is spent. You know, if you do get, you're one of our funders, I think you should have say-so on how the money is spent at the library. Would help to approve policy. Also would be responsible for working on fundraising for the library. They meet once a month. And if anybody's interested, if you could contact either myself or Erin and, let us know. But it's a great opportunity, so I hope that someone will consider it. And that's all.
Thank you. So, would you like to put something on our website tomorrow about the request?
Sure.
See if anybody's looking to, anybody like, get a list of people who want to volunteer to do it, and we'll go from there. So, I was just about to say anybody else.
Brenda Vance, 9812 Old Steubenville Pike. And I don't know who asked you to read the reports, but that really is a nice thing. it's nice to know what's going on. I appreciate that. And I was just wondering, is there any way to ID every site that's gas-related in the township and have it on file in the township of who it actually belongs to, so that wouldn't happen again? And get the fire departments a copy and the police department a copy, and I know that's a big job. And
Well, I think Mr. McHale said the county has provided a line site,
Yeah,
site map with everybody's lines.
we're starting a process after this last incident in the township, and we're gonna do it for Midway Bar, and I'm gonna, of course, ask McDonald Bar too, which we don't have any facilities. Anything above ground that we need to, it needs to be marked, so it's some kind of identifier for safety reasons. And we're gonna work towards that with the companies and the 911 center. Jeff Yates, the county EMA coordinator, get this moving a lot quicker than I planned.
So
after
what
the
she's
last-
asking, you're working on.
Yes,
Okay.
after the last incident, I took a step forward. Instead of, trying to put together meetings, I pretty much, at least for the Mark West right now, is pretty much demanding and asking for public safety assistance in marking, identifying these above ground facilities.
Are they fulfilling your, any kind of training requests you guys have?
Not as of yet.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the second conversation that we had. So we're going to be meeting with them very vigorously in the near future.
Another thing I wanted to ask you is, I know when you come in, you changed some of the ordinances, and you keep saying that these aren't your rules. And I was just wondering if maybe you could consider, like, when there is a big thing that's being discussed, if, there would be a little bit of time for public discussion after that, so that we would know what we're talking about. Because like she said at the beginning of the meeting, we're not even sure what's going on. So if somebody makes a presentation, would you consider maybe changing that part of that? And like Karen was talking about her husband, he's really having, with the double lung transplant, you can imagine it's a scary time for him. And even though they're gonna have their backup horns off, when those machines start up, you can hear them. And you can smell the fumes from them, anytime you've been around heavy equipment, you can hear them even with the horns off. And with the trucks in and out all night, that's still going to be putting a burden on the road. And the residents right there, located right there. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, John Camel, 738 Camel Road, Boulder, Pennsylvania. One thing I'd like to point out that the road workers did an outstanding job this last snowfall. I mean, they were out there all hours of the night, salting, sanding, and plowing snow, and they did an outstanding job. So I just wanted to pass that along.
I'll tell them.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Jocelyn Greco. I'm here from Range Resources. I know there's been some discussion about emergency 911 markings at above-ground facilities related to oil and gas development. And I'd just like to share for the board and the community's benefit that Range, our practices, in accordance with the rules set forth by the township, that we do mark all of our well sites with 911 addresses. In the past, we've coordinated with the township for every site to assign an adequate 911 address. At times, we have to apply for an actual address, and I know Aaron and I have worked through that on multiple occasions. We also notify the county. So all of our signs, from Range's perspective, should be visible, and if anybody has any questions, they're certainly welcome to let me know.
You wanna stay there for 1 second, if you don't mind? Do you have any questions for everybody?
And we've worked before as well.
We've worked well with Range. We haven't had any issues with Range.
Okay,
so.
figured I'd give you the opportunity.
Well, that's fine, yep. Her and I have been in contact
Okay.
numerous times also on other matters and township and borough, so I will say Range is one of the ones working well on this.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, make a motion to adjourn at 8 PM.